is a daunting challenge, but I got lucky. I'm really excited to see how this animal survives its first year in the Canadian Rockies. Moose populations are declining. Any calf born now has the deck stacked against it.
Wednesday night at 7 on Arizona PBS.
Vilna was one of the most important cities in Jewish history.
This is ground zero for the final solution.
In June, the Germans attacked us.
80 Jews hatched a plan. They started digging an escape tunnel. The entrance to the tunnel was found, but they couldn't find the continuation.
You've got no idea what we're going to find down there? Oh, my goodness.
This is astounding.
Wednesday night at 8 on Arizona PBS. Support for Arizona PBS comes from viewers like you and from...
Why did she borrow $42,000 for tuition? Why did she borrow $19,400 for room and board? Why did she borrow $1,100 for student fees and $250 for a graduation gown? She did it to work for you. And now you can do something for her with a job benefit that helps your employees pay off their student loans. Gratify is gratitude.
From the Cronkite Studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
As Governor Ducey's plan to send a total of 338 troops to the border for Operation Guardian Shield has officially begun, we take you to Nogales to find out how the deployment will affect the border community.
Plus, deadly counterfeit drugs are on the rise, and they're being disguised as prescription pills. What you need to know about this dangerous trend here in Arizona.
And Arizona teachers are officially planning a walkout, but this time they're saying it's going to be, quote, long-term.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Noelle Lilly.
And I'm Tyler Paley. Thanks for joining us. The Arizona National Guard deployment to the border is imminent, and Arizona lawmakers and people in the border community are voicing their concerns.
Our coverage of Operation Guardian Shield begins with Cronkite News reporter Adriana de Alba live in Nogales.
There's still no word on what exactly the troops will be doing or when they'll begin their work here on the border. But this afternoon, we had the chance to catch up with residents and business owners here, some of them telling us they're worried this action will create chaos in their community.
You see military, you get scared. Like, why are the military here? What are they protecting us from? We don't know because we don't feel we feel just as safe as 50 years ago.
Debbie Bracker is the owner of a clothing store in Nogales. She says business has already been declining since the increased attention on border security issues. She worries the decision to send troops to the border will cause many of her Mexico customers to shy away from shopping in the U.S. And she believes troops are not needed along this stretch of the border.
There's really no danger. I don't know what Trump think he's trying to protect us from.
Most of the people we talked to here today say they're really just confused about all the hype. Now, one woman did tell us that if the troops can help stop drugs from coming into the U.S., then they would be welcome. We're live in Nogales. Adriana de Alba, Cronkite News.
29 Arizona lawmakers have signed a letter to Governor Doug Ducey saying the border troop deployment is the wrong move.
Democratic Senator Andrea D'Alessandro was the main author. She says the militarization could set back efforts to undo the damage from SB 1070 in terms of trade, tourism, and reputation. In the letter, D'Alessandro says she lives about 40 miles from the border and calls the immigration crisis overblown. She says border crossings are down to the lowest level since 1971 and that she and her fellow Democratic leaders feel Trump is mischaracterizing the region.
I think that many people from Washington, D.C. and even from Phoenix just go down to the border and use it for a photo opportunity. Santa Cruz County is one of the safest counties, certainly one of the safest border regions, and I've never felt afraid there.
But it is harder for the border communities to be successful, and by extension the state of Arizona to be successful, when we are scaring people and making it seem like the border is an unsafe place where you need to build a wall.
And the Tohono O'odham community, located along the Arizona border, says it's reached out with concerns about the deployment on tribal lands. Representatives say they've been assured by Border Control representatives that no military personnel would be deployed on the Tohono O'odham Nation. One reason given for putting troops on the border is the need to help stop the flow of illegal drugs into our country.
But there is one drug threat that doesn't get as much attention: counterfeit drugs. Cronkite News reporter Ariana Bustos has more from our Washington bureau.
Between May 2015 and February 2017, 32 Maricopa County residents took what they thought were prescription pills that were actually counterfeit drugs laced with fentanyl, drugs that led to their deaths.
They'll tell you, what do you mean counterfeit medicines? Are you talking about counterfeit narcotics? I said, no, not necessarily. We're talking about, it could be cancer medications, it could be COPD medications, it could be Viagra, it could be Tylenol.
Ex-DEA agent Steve Murphy spoke at the release of a report by the Partnership for Safe Medicines that says distribution of fentanyl-laced prescription drugs are on the rise. The report says fentanyl-laced counterfeit drugs were found in 43 states, 22 of which have had fentanyl-related deaths since 2015, Arizona included. Ex-DEA agent Javier Peña says border states are at particular risk.
The border states, I'm from Texas, Arizona. Obviously the borders are very, very vast. There's a lot of opportunities to get smuggled in, and the trafficker is very creative. He'll use whatever he can to move this counterfeit drugs.
Between August and this January, authorities seized 30,000 counterfeit pills in Pima County, 4 pounds of pills in Santa Cruz County, and made smaller seizures in Maricopa and Yavapai counties. Marvin Shepard, chairman of the Partnership for Safe Medicines Board, said fentanyl is particularly toxic.
It doesn't take much of any one of those products to being laced in another product to kill you.
Murphy says the problem can be invisible, especially when sick people take pills and it isn't investigated.
It's the perfect crime, because when I pass away, the doctor's going to confirm, well, he had cancer, he passed away from cancer. But nobody's ever going to realize that I was sold fake medications, and that was the crime that was committed. So we kind of refer to it as the perfect crime.
Reporting from Washington, Ariana Bustos, Cronkite News.
Today, teachers are preparing for tomorrow's statewide walk-in to their schools, but have also made it clear today that they are ready to take it one step further if Governor Ducey does not meet their demands. Cronkite News reporter Gabriel Gamino is tracking the latest.
Educators have been consistently pushing for a 20% pay increase and more funding, but say that Governor Doug Ducey's plan of slowly increasing that funding, a 1% pay increase to teachers, and $100 million to education next year is not enough. They've already taken their demonstration to the streets, making walk-ins before school days and rallying outside the Capitol in Red for Ed rallies. But with no negotiations on the table, Save Our Schools Arizona spokesperson Raquel Mamani says that educators are prepared to walk out and that they have the community support.
The governor seems to be tone deaf to what the educators and the community is saying. And so, yes, there has been a date set for a walkout.
The date of that walkout is still to be released, but organizers say it could be any time. As of this moment, the organization has told educators to be prepared for what could be a long-term absence. Live in downtown Phoenix, Gabriel Gamino, Cronkite News.
6 people were killed after a small plane crashed at TPC Scottsdale Golf Club Monday night. The plane was on course to fly to Las Vegas. According to police, the small plane took off around 8:45 and hit the ground at Champions Golf Course shortly after. The course is only 2 miles away from the takeoff point. Scottsdale police have not confirmed the names of the victims.
Mark Zuckerberg had his first of 2 congressional hearings today. He appeared at the Senate Judiciary and Commerce Committees this morning. This is the first time Zuckerberg has personally answered questions from Congress instead of sending a deputy. The senators present, including Arizona Senator Jeff Flake, emphasized the power of Facebook as a company. Zuckerberg took full responsibility for the data breach and promised to look into other apps.
It will take some time to work through all the changes we need to make across the company. We're now investigating every single app that had access to a large amount of information in the past. And if we find that someone improperly used data, we're going to ban them from Facebook and tell everyone affected.
Zuckerberg is scheduled to testify in front of the House Energy and Commerce Committee tomorrow morning.
It's been more than 50 years since the passage of the Equal Pay Act, but women still don't make the same amount as men. In Arizona alone, women lose over $6 million every year because of the gender pay gap. Reporter Abdel Jimenez spoke with a couple of women commemorating Equal Pay Day in Phoenix.
Women showed up in red for one mission: to push for equal pay. Phoenix Mayor Greg Stanton recognized April 10th as Equal Pay Day for the city of Phoenix.
We believe that today is not just about women's issue, but it is about a social and economic issue that everybody in the state should be concerned about, regardless of their gender or even their age.
The color red signifies the fact that women remain in the red in their pay. According to a 2017 analysis from the Pew Research Center, women in the U.S. on average earned 82% of what men earned. It would take women an extra 47 days of work to catch up with the salaries of their male counterparts. At the event, cupcakes were sold to show the disparities among equal pay. Men had to pay $1, while women only paid 80 cents. And while the gap has been narrowing, it still persists, specifically among minorities like Black and Hispanic women.
We're also the head of our households in many cases, in which case we need to be able to support and do the work of a man and a woman in our homes as far as providing for our children and providing education.
And how do we close that gap? Dickinson says it should start with transparency in the workplace.
Anything that's done in the dark is done wrong. So we need to be able to see what everyone is getting paid and to make sure that we are all being paid the same.
For Cronkite News, Abdel Jimenez.
A recent World Economics Forum report claims that it will take another 70 years before women's pay matches the men, given the current rate. The good news is that Arizona's wage gap is slightly lower compared to the rest of the country.
Well, Noel, snakes call the desert their home, just like you and I.
That's right. That's why we have experts called venom keepers. Coming up on Cronkite News, we show you how those experts can teach you to safely remove a venomous snake from your home.
And the right tree in the right place. How SRP is moving trees and helping keep the heat down in the desert.
I'm Judy Woodruff, anchor and managing editor of the PBS NewsHour. The journalists of tomorrow face a fast-changing media landscape, but quality news remains vitally important to our communities, our country, and our world. At ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication, students learn solid, reliable reporting, holding the powerful accountable, and rebuilding the public's trust. The Cronkite School and Arizona PBS, preparing the next generation for a stronger future of journalism.
As journalists at Cronkite News, we report on stories that matter to you by focusing on the local impact. We dig deeper and work tirelessly to keep you informed.
Live in Wickerburg.
Live in Los Angeles. In Cleveland. In Washington. In Louisville.
From Jerusalem.
Live in Philadelphia. From around the world to right here in Phoenix.
At Cronkite News, we report the facts and stick to the truth.
Millions of people die every year from drinking dirty water. I would never have felt I had the ability to do something without ASU pushing me. We built filtration systems out of local materials with the people. To see those kids drink clean water for the first time, it's the most rewarding feeling that you can ever have. I went to ASU because I wanted to change the world. The thing I never would have expected is how the world would have changed me.
Today, Arizona residents turned into snake charmers with only a bucket and tongs. Yikes. Reporter Sydney Eisenberg shows us how some people are learning the best way to safely remove venomous snakes from their property.
I've seen rattlesnakes crawling into people's yards, and that's a little too much.
Steve Peralta, like many Arizonans, says seeing snakes on hiking trails and other areas is routine, but now he is able to remove the snakes himself.
When you just see them and look at them, take pictures of them, it's a lot different when you actually handle one because you're messing with an animal that can kill you.
The Phoenix Herpetological Society trained people to remove venomous snakes on their own instead of calling the society or animal control. Students practiced on a non-venomous snake before moving on to the dangerous one.
The snakes were here first. They still are going to find a way into your home or into your backyard from time to time, and it's really helpful to know how to safely remove them.
Now, the removal of a rattlesnake could set you back about $75. With the proper training,
all you need is a set of tongs and a bucket. Himes says the best way to avoid snakes is to be aware of your surroundings and don't go into areas you can't see clearly.
That's when most people get bitten, is reaching under a grill, reaching under rocks or bushes that they can't really see what's there, and that's when you surprise a snake and don't give it a chance to warn you.
And with Arizona being home to 13 species of rattlesnake, more than any other state, Himes says this type of training is worth it before a surprise strikes in your backyard. In Scottsdale, Sydney Eisenberg, Cronkite News.
The Phoenix Herpetological Society says as the days start to heat up, Arizonans can expect to see more rattlesnakes. If you do see one, stay at least 3 feet away.
It's a time of year people across the valley need to seek shade to escape those triple-digit temps. But the city of Phoenix has taken some heat for taking down trees. Cronkite News reporter Jamie Fossenkemper explains how a new mass planting is making up for it.
You know, it makes it a more livable place to enjoy, to be outside and enjoy the outdoors.
To mark Arbor Month and Earth Day in April, the City of Phoenix and Salt River Project teamed up today to plant 1,200 trees in public places throughout the city.
It's a program that the City of Phoenix is teaming up with SRP to make sure that we plant the trees in the right spots.
The city has removed 400 trees for safety reasons.
Every year, SRP must trim or remove thousands of trees that are growing directly beneath our power lines. They create reliability and safety hazards for our customers.
City officials said trees in the wrong places can cause other problems.
A lot of times these trees are hitting those wires that creates power outlets.
Phoenix and SRP said adding 3 times as many trees as they removed will also provide much needed shade.
And that's what's so important, to have trees that we keep that heat down, especially during the summertime.
Now, this is a pilot program, but SRP and the City of Phoenix are hoping that this will be successful and plan to take it to Tempe next.
I really hope we can grow and expand it over time.
Just like these young trees, growing to full size in just 3 years in Cesar Chavez Park. In Phoenix, Jamie Fossenkemper, Cronkite News.
Both companies are hoping this change will promote a more sustainable community.
Well, speaking of sustainability, what does it take to become a certified net zero building?
Coming up on Cronkite News, we'll take you to an inside one Arizona building which produces more energy than it uses.
And we officially had our first triple-digit day of 2018, but I'll tell you when we're back in the 70s coming up.
I'm Ted Simons, host and managing editor of Arizona Horizon. Join us each weekday at 5:30 and 10 as we bring you the top newsmakers who impact the state. We cover the stories in depth that shape and affect our local communities, and we take the time to ensure that all voices are equally heard. For more than 30 years, Arizona Horizon has been your voice and your source for what matters most, right here on Arizona PBS.
By the year 2050, there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish. Before Professor Halden, I had an insane amount of passion, but I almost felt helpless because I didn't know how to use it. Professor Halden gave me a chance to make a difference. Being at a place like ASU allows you to take these big leaps. Ultimately, the biggest problems in the world cannot be solved alone.
What was once a Phoenix adult toy shop is now certified as a net zero energy building by the International Living Future Institute. Nicole Randock discovered how DPR construction took a building that would have been knocked down and extended its usable life for 20 years.
This building near 44th Street and Van Buren produces as much energy as it uses over a year. It's certified net zero.
There is an increasing cost of electricity and energy, so there's more need for zero net energy coming in the coming years. So it certainly is a trend nationally.
Architect Premnath Sundram added that these types of energy-producing buildings could be the future in Arizona and across the country due to the environmental and economic benefits.
Residential and commercial sectors consume 40% of the energy used in the United States, according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration.
DPR constructed the building using innovative air conditioning and lighting systems to achieve net zero. The building uses 87 windows that open automatically when outdoor temperatures are pleasant. Also, the building has 4 evaporative cooling structures that use misters at the top of the pipes to cool the air that enters the building.
And so when the air is moving across the space from the operable windows, it helps carry that cooled air across the workstations.
Additionally, the building uses tubes that filter sunlight into the building, eliminating the need for artificial lights during the day. The company monitors its daily power consumption and solar power production in real time using a dashboard system. Although DPR had to invest 25 to 30% more money in constructing this unconventional building, the company will recoup its investment within 10 years, in addition to paying no utility costs.
The zero net energy buildings are designed with people at the center of the design, and it's important that they have better daylight, better acoustics, and better indoor comfort, so that we're not just saving energy, but we're also providing a great place to work and a great place to live.
In Phoenix, Nicole Randock, Cronkite News.
The small amount of energy that DPR uses is offset by solar panels. And Noelle, it's warming up out there.
That's right, but Courtney, I hear we may have some relief from the 90s soon.
That's right, Noelle, but first let's take a look at our high temperatures from today. So Phoenix actually did hit 100 degrees a little bit before 3 o'clock. It is 96 in Phoenix right now, 95 in Tucson, 80 in Payson, 70 up in Flagstaff, which is a little bit more comfortable than what we're experiencing. Now let's take a look at our temperatures for the rest of the evening. So as dinner time rolls around, it is going to be in the lower 80s or upper 70s, so a little bit cooler. But as your night progresses, it looks like across the valley we are going to hit the 60s, which is going to be nice. So if you want to sleep with your windows open, it'll be nice and cool. As for your temperatures tomorrow, well, it's going to be nice and sunny tomorrow, 91 degrees by noon, so be sure to have some water and a hat on hand to keep that heat off of you, because the UV index is going to be at a 6.5, which is on the lower end of the high scale, but it is still high. And our high temperature is going to be in the upper 90s here in Phoenix. So let's take a look at our next few days. Wednesday, it's going to be 98. Thursday, it's going to be 81, which is a little bit cooler, probably due to those winds that we're going to be having. And Friday, it is going to be a high of 78. Saturday and Sunday, it's going to dip. The temperatures are going to bump back up a little bit more. So Saturday's 83, Sunday's 91. Mondays, your work week starts 89, and Tuesday, it's going to be 81. And let's take a look again at our high temperatures. Be sure to have some water on hand, as I said earlier, because those 90s are going to be sticking around through the weekend. For Cronkite Weather, I'm Courtney Malley.
22 billion crayons are thrown away every year.
But one initiative is looking to change that. Coming up on Cronkite News, how this California company is recycling crayons for children's hospitals.
Officially from 36, and he hooks it in. Arizona State wins. Keeping one deep, and it is caught. Jalen Strong. Do you believe it?
Cronkite News, weeknights at 5 on Arizona PBS.
A California-based nonprofit is recycling crayons and then donating them to children's hospitals in places like Mesa, Phoenix, and 123 other hospitals across the U.S. Reporter Micah Bledsoe is in Danville, California, where crayons are melted and molded into new ones.
Instead of going to landfills, the Crayon Initiative encourages schools and other organizations to donate their old crayons.
We take the crayons that come in, we weigh them so we can keep track of the weight that we have kept out of the landfill. Once they're sorted, we'll melt them down by color.
Last month, a Glendale insurance company helped sort, melt, and distribute crayons to kids at local children's hospitals.
Melting crayons is just one of the many steps in the process it takes to prepare these crayons to deliver to children in hospitals across the U.S.
UCLA Chase Child Life Program Specialist Clarissa Bird says recycling crayons gives sick children something to do.
A box of crayons can provide hours of enjoyment, but sometimes it's the minutes that matter the most.
Bird says the crayons can change their experience.
Being able to grab a box of crayons and take their mind off of the trauma that's going on and the color is so important.
Ware says he is doing more than reusing old crayons.
The papers, once they're full of wax, so we actually donate them to an artificial log company, and they grind them up and put them in the logs to burn. So there's no waste that we develop here.
But seeing kids use his crayons is the best part.
Knowing that we brought a smile to their face inside a world that most of us can't even identify with, that's the good part. That's the good feeling.
Reporting in Danville, Micah Bledsoe, Cronkite News.
Each year, 22 billion crayons are thrown away, according to the Crayon Initiative.
Cronkite News is proud to be the news division of Arizona PBS. Here's what's coming up on Arizona Horizon and PBS NewsHour.
On the next Arizona Horizon, we'll learn more about National Guard troops deployed at the U.S.-Mexico border. And 3 generations of an Arizona family share their memories of Native American hoop dancing.
I'm William Brangham. On the next NewsHour, Facebook under fire. CEO Mark Zuckerberg faces senators' questions over protecting users' information. That's Tuesday on the PBS NewsHour.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks so much for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Support for Arizona PBS comes from viewers like you and from...
I'm David Goldstein, owner of Biltmore Loan and Jewelry. We buy or loan on upscale assets. We have over 30 years of experience in determining values of automobiles, jewelry, art, collectibles, and antiques. For more information and appointments, biltmoreloan.com.
Hospice of the Valley, medical, social, and spiritual care for patients nearing end of life, and support for their families. A not-for-profit community hospice, HOV.org.
On American Experience, was it an act of honor or revenge for a crime that was never committed? Uncover the truth behind a story of passion, power, and prejudice. The Island Murder on American Experience.
Tonight at 8 on Arizona PBS.
It was the hostile takeover of the Republican Party.
The fight between the president and his own party.
Don't mess with Donald Trump. Donald Trump doesn't forget.
Somebody needs to stand up and say, this is not our party. This is not normal.
Tonight at 9 on Arizona PBS. Explore new ideas and new worlds here on Arizona PBS, a community service of Arizona State University.
If you are 60 or over, consider a charitable gift annuity with Arizona PBS.
A charitable gift annuity will provide you a steady stream of income during your lifetime and also help ensure that Arizona PBS is available for future generations.
Coming up next on Arizona PBS, Life and World.
Hello, I'm Paula Kerger, President and CEO of PBS. We know that you have many choices on TV, and I just want to say thank you for choosing to watch Arizona PBS. In addition to offering the best of our national content, from the PBS NewsHour to PBS Kids, your station presents exceptional programs that focus on the issues important to your family and your community. As we look to the future, we promise that we will continue to